Grade 7, Quiz 13. Directions. Read the passage and answer the questions that follow. The Golden Apple. Excerpt from Black Ships Before Troy by Rosemary Sutcliffe. In the high and far-off days when men were heroes and walked with the gods, Peleus, king of the Myrmidons, took for his wife a sea nymph called Thetis, Thetis of the silver feet. Many guests came to the wedding feast, and among the mortal guests came all the gods of high Olympus. But as they sat feasting, one who had not been invited was suddenly in their midst. Eris, the goddess of discord, had been left out because wherever she went, she took trouble with her. Yet she was, all the same, and in her blackest mood to avenge the insult. All she did, it seemed a small thing, was to toss down on the table a golden apple. Then she breathed upon the guest once and vanished away. The apple lay gleaming among the piled fruits and the brimming wine cups, and bending close to look at it, everyone could see the words, "To the fairest," traced on its side. When the three greatest of the goddesses each claimed that it was hers, Hera claimed it as wife to Zeus, the All-Father, and queen of all the gods. Athene claimed that she had the better right, for the beauty of wisdom such as hers surpassed all else. Aphrodite only smiled, and asked who had a better claim to beauty's prize than the goddess of beauty herself. They fell to arguing among themselves. The argument became a quarrel, and the quarrel grew more and more bitter, and each called upon the assembled guests to judge between them. But the other guests refused, for they knew well enough that whichever goddess they chose to receive the golden apple, they would make enemies of the other two. In the end, the three took the quarrel home with them to Olympus. The other gods took sides, some with one and some with another, and the ill will between them dragged on for a long while. More than long enough in the world of men for a child born when the quarrel first began to grow to manhood and become a warrior and a herdsman. But the immortal gods do not know time as mortals know it. Now on the northeast coast of the Aegean Sea, there is a city of men. Troy was its name, and it was a great city surrounded by strong walls and stood on a hill by the shore. It had grown rich on the tolls that its kings demanded from merchant ships passing up the nearby straits to the Black Sea, corn lands, and down again. Priam, who is now king, was lord of wide realms and long-maned horses, and he had many sons about his hearth. And when the quarrel about the golden apple was still raw and new, a last son was born to him, and his wife Queen Hecuba, and they called him Paris. There should have been great rejoicing, but while Hecuba still carried the babe within her, the soothsayers had foretold that she would give birth to a firebrand that should burn down Troy. And so when he was born and named, the king bade a servant carry him out into the wilderness and leave him to die. The servant did as he was bid, but a herdsman searching for a missing calf found the babe and brought him up as his own. The boy grew tall and strong and beautiful, the swiftest runner and the best archer in all the country around. So his boyhood passed among the oak woods and the high hill pastures that rose towards Mount Ida, and there he met and fell in love with a wood nymph called Oenon, who loved him in return. She had the gift of being able to heal the wounds of mortal men no matter how sorely they were hurt. Among the oak woods they lived together and were happy, until one day the three jealous goddesses, still quarreling about their golden apple, chanced to look down from Olympus and saw the beautiful young man herding his cattle on the slopes of Mount Ida. They knew, for the gods know all things, that he was the son of Priam, king of Troy, though he himself did not know it yet, but the thought came to them that he would not know who they were, and therefore he would not be afraid to judge between them. They were growing somewhat weary of the argument by then. So they tossed the apple down to him, and Paris put up his hands and caught it. After it, the three came down, landing before him so slightly that their feet did not bend the mountain grasses, and bade him choose between them, which was the fairest, and had best right to the prize he held in his hand. First Athene, in her gleaming armor, fixed him with sword-gray eyes and promised him supreme wisdom if he would name her. Then Hera, in her royal robes as Queen of Heaven, promised him vast wealth and power and honor if he awarded her the prize. Lastly, Aphrodite drew near, her eyes as blue as deep-sea water, her hair like spun gold wreathed around her head, and, smiling honey-sweet, whispered that she would give him a wife as fair as herself if he tossed the apple to her. And Paris forgot the other two, with their offers of wisdom and power. Forgot also, for that moment, dark-haired Onion in the shadowed oak woods, and he gave the golden apple to Aphrodite. Number 1. Why does the author include paragraph 1? A. To describe how Peleus and Thetis met. B. To explain the how the argument over the golden apple came to be. C. To provide evidence for why Peleus didn't want to invite Eris. D. To provide hints about how the quarrel over the golden apple will be resolved. 2. Which detail would be most important to include in a summary of the passage? A. Then she breathed upon the guest once and vanished away. Paragraph 3. B. In the end, the three took the quarrel home with them to Olympus. Paragraph 7. C. So his boyhood passed among the oak woods and the high hill pastures that rose towards Mount Ida. Paragraph 10. D. After it, the three came down, landing before him so lightly that their feet did not bend the mountain grasses, and bade him choose between them, which was the fairest, and had best right to the prize he held in his hand. Paragraph 12. 3. How does paragraph 6 relate to paragraph 3? A. Paragraph 3 explains a problem that is solved in paragraph 6. B. Paragraph 6 explains the effect of an event in paragraph 3. C. Paragraph 6 foreshadows an event that will happen in paragraph 3. D. Paragraph 3 provides an example of a claim made in paragraph 6. 4. What does paragraph 10 suggest about Paris? A. Paris grew up and was treated as a god. B. He is a man who can be blinded by beauty. C. Paris married a woman who could ease his constant pain. D. He is healthy, talented, and lived a simple life. 5. Reread paragraphs 13 to 15. The purpose of these paragraphs is A. To explain why Paris made the wrong choice when he gave the apple to Aphrodite. B. To explain which goddess Paris thinks is the fairest. C. To describe what each goddess offers Paris for the golden apple. D. To describe the strengths and weaknesses of each goddess. Number 6. What do paragraphs 6 and 11 reveal about the relationship between the goddesses and men? Use at least 2 details from the text to support your answer. Number 6 is just like an exit ticket. Make sure to have a plan of attack. Make sure you are annotating and rereading.